The Flames in a fight with 8 other Western Conference teams for a playoff spot. Edmonton Oilers to a man not interested in the Connor McDavid Bowl. We'll go to Mike Johnson between the benches and Paul Romanek upstairs. Paul.
All righty, thank you, Cassie. Oh, in the crossfire, there's a story. How it ends, we don't know yet. But what we do know is that the Calgary Flames are right in the thick of the wild card race. Not so much for the Edmonton Oilers, but they're playing better under Todd Nelson. Ben Scrivens gets the start. Career against Calgary. He's played in 5 games, 3.42 goals against average. He has never won a game against the Calgary Flames. At the other end, Jonas Hiller. He's played 23 career games against Edmonton, 15-4-1 with a couple of shutouts and a pristine 1.98 goals against average. We are all set to go. Great to have you with us, coast to coast, wherever you're looking in on this Saturday night. As the season starts to bear its teeth, the race is starting to gel, and the Flames in the thick of it. This is Backlund coming in, trying to cut in towards the goal, knocked down. Backlund in back of the net. Right up there is Giordano. What a season he's having. Norris Trophy candidate, top scoring defenseman in the NHL.
Really sets the tone for this Calgary Flames team. Mark Giordano, their captain, and willing to play aggressive. And if you're going to make a mistake, go down swinging. Don't go down being passive. He told us that this morning. He plays that way, has all year.
And Mike, further to that, he did say that he's having such a great year because the style this team plays is an easy one for him to play it.
He needs to get lots of support with their forwards, with the back pressure, and letting him, Brody, Russell, Weidman, letting them get up the ice and make plays because they know they have support, trust of the forwards.
And this is Johnny Gaudreau. He will drop it back for Monahan. Tries to fire it through. A couple of dangerous players out there. You talk about the great young players on Edmonton. Shot comes in. Scrivens stops that. How about the Flames and some fine young players? Gaudreau and Monahan right up there. Persson moved it across. Roy got it over. Puck comes up around the boards, and this is Gaudreau. Clears it in. And offside.
Mark Giordano will be on the ice a lot. He'll play just 25 minutes every night. And look at him, always thinking of going forward. Down below the hash marks, no hesitation. Pucks right to the front of the net, no problem. Again, interchanging, and look who's right down in front of the net. Again, that's Mark Giordano looking for a rebound. And nightmare to play against if you're a winger, a right winger, going up against the Calgary Flames. Knowing you got to chase him around all night.
This is Raymond, sharp angle shot, and Scrivens steady as she goes.
Clearly a shooting mentality here for the Calgary Flames. Their third periods, their overtimes have been great this year, but their starts, not so good. Not many goals scored their last couple games. A chance in the first, not many shots, not doing enough. So hopefully a better start for them, trying to simplify with all these shots on net.
This is Colburn. Has points in all 3 games against the Oilers this year. The Flames have won all 3 of those games. Petrie. Long shot in, chest high, and Hiller grabs it and hangs on.
Paul, you mentioned it. Norris Trophy candidate, absolutely. Mark Giordano right there leading in points, 6th in goals, and leading his team unexpectedly into a playoff position at this point. I thought he had the line of the All-Star weekend because he was never drafted. He took the long road to get to the NHL, and they asked him about the fantasy draft. He's like, I'm just looking to get drafted for the first time.
Stajan played it up ahead. And the angle just kind of ran out there on David Wolf making his NHL debut. And he had a bit of a look there coming down the right side. He's number 45, and he'll head to the bench right now as the Flames make a couple of changes.
I like that for your first NHL shift. Go bombing down the wing, high wrister, quick change.
That's some
intent
intent
to the NHL.
Had some intent, didn't it?
You're playing very well down in Adirondack.
Long pass up ahead. Bomo was looking for it, didn't find it, and it's an icing call.
Calgary Flames called up David Wolf, Sven Barchi, Tyler Wotherspoon. Wolf's the first guy to get into actual game action. First NHL game, and that's what you want if you're a young player. Get a touch, get a shot, get some feeling of normalcy back in your legs because you know you're nervous. going out for your first couple times on the ice in the NHL.
Puck comes out. Eberle shooting, scores! Jordan Eberle, and a great start for the Oilers.
Scramble draw. Jordan Eberle finds all kinds of time when he shouldn't really have much. Extra effort by Nugent Hopkins, but there goes Boma right past the pile. Bollig doesn't slide underneath, and both wingers for the Calgary Flames get caught above Jordan Eberle, and then the seeing eye little wrister with a nice pick from Pouliot in front of the net. But to have the presence of mind, pull it to your forehand, get it up and over the pile into the corner. Taking an early advantage for a 1-0 lead.
So that rejigged top line looks pretty good. Taylor Hall not in the lineup. And moving up there to take his place on the line is Pouliot. Klinkhammer after it. Rubbed along the boards, and then he tumbles down. Following up is Boyd Gordon. Gets it up and around. Petrie waiting for it. Gaudreau knocked it away. Pass up, bounces down. Byron coming in. He got to the top of the slot. Byron has that great first step speed, but he's been snake bitten in terms of scoring. Here's Gaudreau. Nice little spin around him. Zips it across. Stajan was going towards the net. Pardon me, that was Jones. Puck comes up. Diaz couldn't keep it in. And Gaudreau hustling all the way back to pick it up. Eberle was looking for it. Scored that goal for the Oilers to start things off. And just what the Oil needed. They had been playing better as of late. Eberle comes in. Nugent Hopkins trailing. Eberle was carrying on towards the goal, but the play is broken up. This is Brody. Moves it up on the wing. Boma and Backlund both going towards the front of the net. Now Backlund jumps here into the corner, trying to pick that puck loose. Sends it up and around. Brody. Backlund looks around. Parked down in front is Jones. Shot comes across, and Jones was on the other side of the crease. Couldn't get to it, and then fell down pursuing it towards the corner. Here's Eberle. Touches it up ahead. Pouliot gets it in. Nugent Hopkins with a shot. Boma moved it up ahead. Juris was tied up. Purcell coming back in. Moves in. Oh, tried to slide back. Nice play there by Russell to break it up. Sliding along the ice. Weidman. Yakupov traps it up around back of the net. Derek Roy going after it. Couldn't get there. Russell jabs it up around the boards and out. And the Flames will make some changes. Yakupov. Up to Roy. Fane. Oilers making some changes now as Mark Fane moves it up ahead. Up there to Roy, and meanwhile, back behind the play, squaring up. That is Bollig. And Keith Ollie. Ollie, pardon me.
Ollie back in the lineup for the injured Nikita Nikitin, and you knew he wanted to bring an element of physicality. And he gets into one early with Brandon Bollig. Nothing much comes of it. And they'll get their 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly what did that add to the game so far?
If you're young Keith Ollie, you're just trying to do something to get the coach's attention. And part of his game is fighting, and he's just trying to show that he's willing to do it. And you're right, though, not much of anything going on. There's just two guys saying it's time to fight. Puck's nowhere near them. There's been no animosity, no history. Although Keith Ollie did have a run-in with Matt Stajan in a previous game this year. So Bollig and him jostle for a little bit and head to the ice.
And in the hockey code, if you are a follower, then I guess that would perhaps be a bit of payback for the hit on Stajan, for which he was suspended 2 games.
Here we go again, round 2.
Yeah.
Gazdic, Engelland pointing out the stick for Gazdic not to step on. Whoa.
Engelland landing a couple, and Gazdic trying to get the right hand free. So a little acrimony here in the Battle of Alberta in this first period.
Don't tell these guys where they are in the standings, doesn't matter. 2 fights, first 5 minutes here. As it's Gazdic and Englund right off the draw. And this is obviously predetermined. See them looking at each other. Englund in right point, Gazdic left winger. And they immediately step to each other. And you talked about Ollie, his run-in previously. There it is, the hit on Matt Stajan. He was given 2-game suspension for that. That was on New Year's Eve. This is the first matchup since then, so perhaps that's a bit of a response for Bollig. And then Englund and Gazdic do it again. Which will just shorten the benches and the other guys a little bit more ice time.
So both sets of penalties. Scraps canceling one another out.
What's going on here early in this game? Couple fights, goal early on for Jordan Eberle, and it's off a scramble draw. Second effort by Nugent Hopkins right there. And Lance Bowman gets caught drifting past Eberle. Bollig gets caught drifting wide, thinking about his point, and that allows Eberle to step inside and have all kinds of time and space, and nifty little shot at the corner.
2:43 the time of the goal. Eberle from Nugent Hopkins.
If you're Bowman there, you have to try to keep Eberle in your sights until the puck is decided. Can't let him get underneath you until you see who has full possession.
This is Chris Russell. Snaps it up there towards the blue line. A little swipe at it there from Paul Byron. He'll head back to the bench. Colburn got a piece of his man, and now he's got the puck. Moves in with a rising shot. Rebound in front. And Scrivens with the stop. Nice one on Byron, who came striding in on that right side. Colburn, pardon me. Puck up in, back in the net. Trying to curl it around. Hendricks. Schultz, top scoring defenseman in the Oilers, fires one in, and it flutters into the glove of
Penalty
Hiller.
coming up, though. Hendricks going to get one for a cross check late on Giordano. And he deserves it. Comes in and lays the lumber right to his back. So Calgary to the power play when we get back.
1 goal in the game. Eberle got it right off a face-off, and that's the difference in the early going. Welcome back to the Scotiabank Saddle Dome. The Flames have won the last 5 against Edmonton, but they trail early in this one.
Had a good chance to tie it up here. Joe Colburn, the guy you want with the puck. He's got 6 points in 3 games so far against the Oilers. He gets a chance. Giordano right on the crease again, looking for a rebound. And there's the cross check. Hiller had already made the save. Giordano had pulled up, not thinking there was any contact coming up. Cross check numbers for the penalty.
So a power play chance. Calgary with the 22nd ranked power play in the league. Only 1 power play goal in their last 7 games. 1 for 19, so they are struggling.
And it's such an important part of the game, of course, to score the goals and when you win you hockey games, but also to keep forwards feeling good about themselves.
Jumping up there, trying to crank it was Rafael Diaz. Puck into the corner. Diaz pinched right up there on the left side. The lone man back was Brody, and he couldn't pull that down.
It's amazing what some cheap secondary assists or deflection goals will do for guys' confidence. When they're not getting it done 5-on-5, they get a little something on the power play, keep them feeling good about themselves.
Puck tucked up there by Brody. He sets up at the top of the point. Left-hand shot, and they get it to him here. Brody shoots, and dropping down was Justin Schultz. Leads the team in block shots, and he took one for the team there. Bit of a limp after he took that on the outside of his leg.
You can hear that thud from the benches, and no doubt he will be limping off.
Puck comes up. Moving in is Monahan. Not much room to move it, but it's worked across. Jones going to the net. Rebound comes in front. Oh, what a stop! Gaudreau was robbed by Scrivens with a larcenous save.
What a save by Ben Scrivens on Johnny Gaudreau. Little wrister from Giordano, and Scrivens can't handle it. Gaudreau pulls it wide, thinks he's got it wide open net. And Scrivens makes the save, and here's the shot blocker there right in the side of the boot. I don't care if you have the extra shot blocker plastics on there or not, that hurts.
Puck worked around Jones, parked right down in front. Flames getting men to the front of the net on this power play, and on that occasion it was David Jones.
Well, it starts with faceoff wins, and they're getting them right now against Boyd Gordon, one of the best in the NHL. 8th in faceoff winning percentage on the year, but they're getting control and attacking quickly.
And Calgary a woeful 28th in the league in faceoffs. Weidman shooting, sizzled one on goal, and Scrivens stopped that.
Clear plan for the Calgary Flames. Do not let the Oilers set up on their penalty kill. If you win the faceoff, couple quick passes and attack the net. Don't wait for another better option. And seen past Dennis Weidman, and then he's looking to shoot, rebound, and if anything's there, Sean Monahan's right on the doorstep.
Well, the best of a mediocre lot in faceoffs for the Flames is Monahan. He's out there and wasn't able to win the draw from Gordon. Gordon is up over 56% in terms of faceoffs. He's very good. Gaudreau walking it up. Nice little move. And then deked himself out as he tried to step towards the slot.
The more you watch Johnny Gaudreau, the more you see Patrick Kane. He is just magic with his hands.
You are not the first I've heard make that analogy, and it's an excellent one, I think. Puck moved across. Gaudreau was trailing there, but it was knocked away. And Purcell gets it down the ice. Penalized player back on. Teams at even strength. Diaz lofting it across. Boma moves it up ahead, up towards the corner. Backlund going after it. Oh, Boma steps into his man. That was Petrie who he bumped. Ference. Puck bounces down. Flicked up ahead there by Lander. And trying to bulldoze his way through there was Pouliot. Long pass up there at the line. And the puck will roll to Scrivens. Boma wasn't quite able to work his way loose as he was straddling the blue line as the puck came up. Tuesday night, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara starring in a new episode of the hit comedy Schitt's Creek. That's Tuesday at 9 on CBC. Hilarity ensues. Coburn up in the face-off there against Derek Roy. Klefbom away quickly. And feathers that one in, steered aside by Hiller. Raymond got it up. Puck chopped in by Josh Juris. Juris tried to get there. Scrivens kept it out of harm's way. And back quickly with a burst of speed. Yakupov moves in, dances to the middle. Oilers were on a change, so he was a man on a mission by himself. Mark Fane. Eberle drops it back. Nugent Hopkins returns the favor to Eberle. He'll fly up there after it. Here's Nugent Hopkins. Pouliot down low for Eberle. Trying to muscle his way out. Finds a bit of room. He'll come out. Sharp angle shot. It was a rising drive. And Hiller was there. Square to the shooter with the save.
Every now and then you got to laugh at yourself during a game. And Derek Roy breaks his stick. So he's going over to the bench. Got to grab an extra one top of your screen. And he just eats it in front of the bench. Of course, his team gains control, so he slowly goes back down the bench. He's taking it from his teammates. He comes to the bench like a super vet that he is. Immediately asks for his skates to get checked, even though he just fell down.
Could you hear the guys giving it to him down there?
Yeah. Take the skate guards off, Derek.
Nice and call. 9:59 to go first period. Mike Johnson right down between the benches in the thick of the action.
And every now and then you gotta be willing to laugh at yourself, not take yourself so seriously here during the game, even though it's a tight one so far. Lots of energy down on the ice.
Top line out there for the Oilers again. Nugent Hopkins, Pouliot, and Eberle. Breaking back the other way. Jones comes in with a shot, and Scrivens with the save. He has been solid in this first period, has Ben Scrivens. Couple of nice stops from close in and a solid stop there.
Welcome back to Calgary, and there's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, assist on Jordan Eberle's goal. He put on about 15 pounds over the last year and a half, and he owes a lot to his brother Adam, who completed a kinesiology program at Langara College. He also played for Concordia last year while taking classes. training that team as well. Some of his other clients include Brendan Ranford, Bill's nephew, who's with the Dallas farm team. And Ryan notices a big difference in his explosiveness, Paul, while also dealing with traffic.
Well, he certainly has durability, that's for sure. He's played over 1,000 minutes this season. He leads all NHL forwards in time on the ice, averaging about 21 minutes, 22 seconds per game. So along with adding some weight, his endurance is clearly right up there.
And that's some heavy sledding. Western Conference, a lot of bigger guys than him he's got to play against. And if you're going to play 21.5 minutes a game, more than some pretty good players that are below him, you got to be in good shape. You got to be able to handle the wear and tear. And that's going to happen. He's not a big guy, but he obviously does a good job of managing his size as best he can to play that many minutes a game.
Would you say of the big three Edmonton forwards, and I'm talking about him, Taylor Hall, and Jordan Eberle, I'll get back to you in 1 second. Gaudreau fires one in, that's going to bounce on the mesh. And is coaxed off the mesh, skating after it is Gordon. Flipping is going to bounce down, and the play is offside. Mike, just to finish the thought, I just wanted to ask you, do you think of those big three Edmonton forwards that maybe Nugent Hopkins makes the best effort to play a bit of defense?
I think that it probably came most naturally to him, and I think he has adapted more, mostly because he's a centerman and you have to the NHL, whereas Taylor Hall still freewheels quite a bit. Jordan Eberle certainly thinks offense first, whereas Nugent Hopkins, if you're going to play center, you have to be at least somewhat aware of what your responsibilities are. So you're right, he's probably the big three. So far, the most adept at playing a little bit of defense in the NHL, but they all have a ways to go.
Yeah, and that's fair comment when you look at where they sit in the standings. I think even the most diehard Edmonton supporter would have to concede that point. Lander jabs it up around. Look at Giordano, pinched right up there. Loves to get involved. He's got it here. Top offensive defenseman in the league. Flips it up back of the goal. Wolf making his NHL debut. Had a good shot in his first shift coming down the right wing. See if they get it to him here. Wolf picks it up, but play is whistled down. It came outside the blue line, and play is called. Tuesday night, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara. They star in a new episode of the hit comedy Schitt's Creek. That's Tuesday at 9 on CBC.
Well, the Flames have struggled with their starts all year long. Their first periods haven't been as good. And they've struggled at home. And they're going to come out of this halfway through this first period. Already 10 shots on net. Even though they're down 1-0, they've played relatively well. Lots of play in the Oilers zone.
They have a nice little run here at home in the Saddle Dome, and then they go on the road for an extended period as the Brier moves into the building. That's an icing call on the Flames.
Oilers playing as well as they have all year long, and of course they had the coaching change. Dallas Aikens out. Craig McTavish dropped in for a couple games while Todd Nelson got acclimated to the NHL, but you talk to the guys on the team and it's all the same message. And he's a good guy, calm, and he gets it.
Here's Petrie, walks up, fires it up. Nice tip there at the side by Eberle. Scores! Pouliot. Benoit Pouliot. And unchecked. And it's 2-0.
This is where icings matter, face-off matter, because the Oilers win another one. And Jordan Eberle, a nice little tip, and Dennis Wideman gets caught jumping down when Juris got Eberle handled behind the net. And that leaves Benoit Pouliot open in front. And look at him get this one upstairs in a hurry. Good finish by Benoit Pouliot. Second goal for this #1 line of the Edmonton Oilers in the first period. Both off broken plays off one face-off in the offensive zone, an area of weakness for the Calgary Flames has cost them.
So again, Pouliot moves up onto that top line to fill in for Taylor Hall, who is out with an injury, and he looks right at home. Byron scooting back, got that great speed, but he couldn't get to the outside that time. Eric Roy moves it up. Purcell. Coming up. Roy is with them as they come to the line. Yakupov moves it up towards the corner. Yakupov pokes it back to the net. Roy looked towards the front. Nobody was there. He'll take it now. Yakupov moves towards the front of the goal, but inconsequential as the puck comes out. Roy feathers it in and heads to the bench. Oilers in a change. Long pass up ahead, trying to knock it down was Boma. Jones up, got a piece of his man. Backlund and Jones working it there. Lander comes away with it. Frazier up to the blue line. Pocket picked there by Backlund. Tipped away from Backlund. Banked up. Boma chops it in. Petrie moves it up. The puck is steered in. Here comes Bollig. Bollig moving in. He's got Wolf with him. Fired the shot. Wolf was careening towards the net himself, but the puck tipped up out of play.
Edmonton Oilers down 2-0. Both goals a result of lost draws. This one's Nugent Hopkins again. Wins it clean against Josh Juris. And then 15 seconds later, Dennis Wideman gets a little overexcited, jumping in behind the net, and it's 2-0 as Benoit Pouliot goes under the bar. And if you're not winning them, you got to at least find a way to scramble them. So you don't lose them cleanly like Juris did there.
Diaz shooting! One-timer right on, and a nice stretch and stop by Scrivens. Pouliot getting that goal from Everly and Petrie at 11:41. Here's Petrie. Engel. And Pouliot jabbed at that puck, wasn't able to knock it down. Byron ricocheting it in. Gaudreau hustling it. Nugent Hopkins getting there first. Todd Nelson getting that big line right back out there. Strike while the iron is hot, and it is right now for this line. Pouliot, Everly gets it out. Nugent Hopkins with a shot. Put off a leg. Looking for that bouncing puck. And it gets by Mark Fane at the blue line. Here's Pouliot. Nugent Hopkins comes in. Pouliot trailing. Will take it. Moves in. Top of the slot. Gets a shot. Picked up. Rebound knocked down. Steady as she goes. Puck cleared out by Giordano. Long lob pass there for Coburn, but Everly comes back the other way. Long shift for Everly. He gets caught in a change here. Yakupov out there. Schultz whips it across. Puck pounded in there by Klefbom. Schultz. Klefbom shoots. Big blocker rebound coming out. Derek Roy couldn't quite get it. Purcell works it over. Klefbom. Purcell didn't have a shot. Tries to force one, and it's tipped up over the glass and out of play. Oilers up by a score of 2-0. The second goal coming from Pouliot. Bit of celebration for the Oilers. Edmonton 3-1-0 in the last 4 games and off to a great start here.
They are, and Calgary's trying to take advantage of the Edmonton Oilers by stretching things out. Bob Hartley knows he has a quick team, and he likes to send his forwards out and put some pressure on the Edmonton Oilers defensemen. And they've caught him a few times, and it hasn't gotten noticed by the Oilers defensemen and coaching staff. They will be made aware of that, know that. Got to keep guys in front of you. Got to be ready to move off the blue line quickly. Can't be caught watching the puck because speedy guys like Byron, Gaudreau, Jones, they'll be sliding in behind you looking for those quick rushes.
Edmonton winners of the last 2 road games, coming off of a poisonous streak of 14 straight losses on the road.
It's amazing what a little bit of success will do for you. The Oilers went through such a tough time. Of course, Dallas Eakins losing his job. Nelson comes in and new voice, fresh ideas, fresh tone, and you have just a little bit of success, even though the message is not earth-shatteringly different. You just have some wins, you have a little bit more fun, you're a little more relaxed, and you play better because of it.
Backlund got it to the side there. David Jones was fighting for a little bit of real estate. He's after the puck here along the wall, knocked down. Coburn rolls it in, and little butterfingers there for Scrivens. Thought the better of it, decides to hang on.
Ben Scrivens still trying to firmly establish himself as a #1 guy. He's got a good opportunity. Victor Faust hasn't gotten it done here in Edmonton, and he knows that these last 30 games are important to his career. If he plays well enough, can he encourage the Oilers to stay with him for next year, not go look for more goaltending help? You know, as a player, those defining times in your career where you have opportunities you need to make the most of. It's right now for Ben Scrivens.
Russell shoots, and Scrivens saw that one and hangs on.
You need to get the faith of the organization and maybe more importantly of your teammates. They got to know that when there's a save that needs to be made, when it's a tight game, you're going to be the guy that gets it done. And if you can do that, it goes a long way to having success.
Much of the Oiler brain trust there.
You don't see Craig McTavish, Scott Housen. They have been on the road scouting trade deadline possibilities as they have some decisions to make. Obviously, they will be sellers anything they can at the deadline.
Ference tried to zip it through. He got stopped there at the point by Coburn, who was almost able to battle his way past. Hiller parks it there for Russell. Oilers hustle into change. Russell will come out. Steered in by Stajan. Here's Fane. Up ahead, Frazier couldn't get a handle on it, and it was tapped up over the glass and into the netting, so we get a whistle.
And the one thing you know about this team in Calgary in these games is that they won't give up. They have the best record in the NHL when trailing after one period. So this is not a new place for them. They have been fighting from behind, coming back late throughout this entire season, and that will be the message they're being told after the first. We've been here before. We've done it before. We'll do it again.
Stajan tapped it there at the blue line. Knocked back away. Well, you would think that the odds would catch up to them at some point.
They have to. I mean, it's a numbers game in the NHL, and you just can't keep coming back from being down in the third period, even though they've done it already more than their season's worth. Certainly more than they did the entire year last year.
Gaudreau in over the blue line. And then blew a wheel there. Puck knocked down. Here comes Everly. Everly, Pouliot is with him. Everly moving in, waiting, shooting, and fired that one wide. He dangled across to the slot in great scoring position. Here comes Brody. Gaudreau slashing at it. Giordano striding up there, trying to keep the drive alive. Tapped it to Gaudreau. Nice little spin move. Looking, gets it down low there. Nobody in front. Gaudreau hanging back. Didn't come to him. Petrie moves it up around the boards. Brody right up there looking for it. So too is Monahan. Giordano. And not able to keep it in. Jones taps it back. Another good chance for that top Oilers line. Everly with a good shot from the slot. Fired it wide. Purcell being badgered there along the boards by Backlund. Now it's knocked out. Purcell steps in over the blue line. Yakupov takes it here in the wing. Fires it across in front of the net. Derek Roy was zipping across. He's got it now in the corner. Yakupov is in the slot. Roy is knocked down. Puck just tapped out by Jones. Puck bomb. Yakupov chips it in. And slammed on the brakes as Coburn had him in the crosshairs. Pass comes up here. Coburn looking for it. Schultz stepped in there to knock it down. Long pass right up there at the blue line. Juris was dangling looking for it, but play is whistled down outside.
And it's been a good first period for that #1 line, including Jordan Everly. And he's learning that the better defense you play like he did right there, stick on the ice in the right position, the easier the offense will come in. We know he loves that move, little toe drag while you go for the slide. You get the left heel out there to block the stick on the ice. setting up the shot.
Puck comes back, pushed towards the goal there, but knocked down. Raymond stepping up after. Juris was the trailer. Puck comes all the way up and around. Juris darts over there to get it. Fires it up around back of the net. Coburn couldn't get there. Giordano taps it up around back of the net. Joe Coburn going after it. Knocked away from him. Juris hoeing away at it. Raymond up there as well. Ollie. Under a bit of pressure from Coburn. Comes loose to Lander, who will start back. Looking way up on the left side for Gaudreau. He had it briefly, and he's got it again. Gaudreau taps it across. Zipped towards the goal by Byron. Byron is in front. Gaudreau after the puck. He was knocked down. Fans hollering for a penalty. Klinkhammer striding after that puck. Works his way loose, centers it out in front, but time runs out. So that will do it for period number 1. A 2-0 Oilers lead coming up in the first intermission. George, Nick, Elliott, and Kelly with inside the game. Oilers are on the inside track in this one after 1. It can be a pretty raucous building when the home team is on a roll. They are not right now. They're getting rolled over, trailing by a score of 2-0 after 1 period of play. Getting rolled over perhaps a little bit strong. However, they're not playing great hockey in the first period. Edmonton playing very well, and Mike, a big part of why they're playing well is simple things.
Simple things, but simple things that they absolutely struggle with for most of this year, and that's getting out of their own end cleanly. They've gotten a little bit better in that regard. More patience, more puck support, and guys knowing where they need to be to get the puck out of your own end. And that has been the greatest problem for the Edmonton Oilers for quite some time. When they have the puck, they can make good things happen with it, but they spend too much time on their own end. But when they use lots of reverses, lots of behind-the-net play, and proper puck support, then they get down to the offensive end and let their talent take over, and some good things can happen. And we saw more of that out of the Oilers in the first period. Still lots of work to be done. They gave up 15 shots, but not a lot of extended pressure moments for Calgary in the first.
The Oilers 5-4-3 when leading after 1 period as Scrivens tested there, and he will hang on to it.
Good save by Scrivens there, holding the rebound. Key for him to make those early saves in the second period. You know Calgary's going to come a little bit harder at him. And he's at 15 shots, no goals against, mostly under control. Not too many highlight reel variety, except for maybe the one on Johnny Gaudreau right there where he takes it away. But he made the stops he had to, took the whistles when they were available, and let the game be played at the pace that his team was going to be comfortable with. He's got to find a way to do that for a couple more periods.
Russell fired that one across into the corner. Weidman was coming up there from the right point, but comes all the way back. Klinkhammer moving up. Fane tries to fire one on goal, knocked down, and Coburn will start it back. Taps it up in the head. Gaudreau drifts towards the corner. He's got it now, works it out in front. Chopped on goal. I don't think that Dennis Weidman really got all he wanted on that.
If he was a lefty, he would have hammered that puck, but he's a righty cross-body trying to push that one in the net.
Long pass up, here's Gaudreau, and first touch wasn't great, but he's got it now. Works it out, and Weidman moving up, fired a shot. I believe Hendricks got a piece of it there. Puck will come back out for Brody. Waiting, spins away, up to the corner, looking in front now. Gets it there to the side, chopped on goal. That was knocked away. A bit of jump here. Raymond works it back, top of the point. Brody fires one up. That'll bounce out. Lively bounce off the boards there at the side. Batted away by Scrivens. Puck chopped up along the wall. Raymond knocks it down. Raymond again. Rings it up around back of the goal. Wolf looking. TJ Brody gets it across. And no room there for Giordano to work any magic. Nugent Hopkins chips it up. Knocked down by Raymond, fires it in. Wolf trying to jump up after that, pounce on it, couldn't get to it. Puck comes all the way up. Yakupov looks towards the front. Nugent Hopkins knifes a backhander on goal. And Hiller stops it and hangs on.
Very good sequence in the offensive zone for the Calgary Flames. And it all starts with Johnny Gaudreau. Take a look at these hands. He wants a pass. This is a grenade coming at him. Dirty bounces up by his shins, and he pulls that puck down to the ice, almost off the shaft of his stick, and then wins a strength battle with Keith Aulie to start the offensive sequence. That is beyond difficult, and a little taste of how good his hand-eye could be.
Yeah, that is a tall order to take a pass that hot and control it on the first catch.
Especially when it handcuffs you, not even on your blade, but in the shaft of your stick.
Klefbom punches it up, gets a bounce off the boards there for Roy. Works it around. Purcell's in the high slot. It comes back to the blue line. That was Schultz who unloaded. Purcell couldn't knock it down, but it's kept in. Worked over by Yakupov. Purcell back of the net. Yakupov drifting towards the slot. Nobody right in front. Schultz was moving up. He'll chop at it. Knocked down. Roy tried to work it through, but broken up. Pass up ahead there for Matt Stajan, and it was a little too far for him to be able to gain control.
You think of the Edmonton Oilers, you think of all their high-end talent, those first-rounders, but Calgary's got some pretty good young players themselves. Sean Monahan, of course, being a very high first-round draft pick. But look at what they've done in the fourth round. TJ Brody, who is as good as just about any number 2 defenseman in the NHL. Johnny Gaudreau as well, out of college at Boston College. All 3 of them contributing. And that's where the good teams have to fill their roster out. It's easy to do it in the first 2-3 picks of the first round like Edmonton has. But the second round, third, fourth rounders, you need serviceable players out of those spots. Calgary's done it. Edmonton has not.
Coburn, Gaudreau, and Monahan out there. Best line for the Flames, and they had a good shift to start the period. Weidman fires it up. It'll skip up off the boards. Russell plays it down. Coburn's there just off the edge of the crease. Gaudreau is up in the mix as well. Puck comes back to the line. Russell looking through, tried to fire it in, knocked down. The Oilers will counter. Puck moved up ahead. Lander looks towards the front of the goal. He had Gazdic moving up there, but couldn't get it to him. Puck knocked out, and a little too far for Gaudreau to get through that time. Giordano. Cross ice. Backlund jumping up into the mix, and the pass never comes to him as Petrie stiffed his man. Giordano fires it up. Backlund up there with Boma. Boma trying to muscle it to the front. Backlund tags off with him. Jones looking for it. Nugent Hopkins. And Everly and Nugent Hopkins after it. Puck comes over to Pouliot, looking towards the front. Jumping up there was Schultz from the blue line, and couldn't control the pass. And Boma couldn't quite reel that one in. Klefbom. And Brody back there to pick it up, and that is an icing call. This Wednesday, his son jumps through hoops to protect his father's legacy. A circus school. You can see it on Dragon's Den, Wednesday, 8 o'clock on CBC.
Nice play here by Jeff Petrie on Lance Boma. Gets his body in front, shoves to the chest, knocks him down, takes the puck away, and Jeff Petrie, pending UFA, right-handed shot defenseman, always a hot commodity in the NHL. I wonder if he's not going to be on the move for the trade deadline this year.
What's your feeling? What do you hear?
I think he absolutely will. You know, lots of contenders at him as a depth defenseman, and if he hasn't re-signed already, you're not going to let him go for nothing if the Oilers, obviously.
Here's Wolf, an impressive NHL debut. Gets it up around back of the goal, and he backpedals towards the slot. He was out there looking for a return feed. Schultz ricochets it off the boards and out. Engelland with it. Gets it up there crisply, but offside.
And when you're a player, you know your situation, and Jeff Petrie knows he hasn't signed in Edmonton. The team's not making the playoffs, pending unrestricted free agent. So you have that in your mind every day that you could be on the move. A lot of talk perhaps maybe heading back to Detroit. They always like the right-handed, left-handed combos. Dad played professional baseball for the Tigers. And they wonder if that might be a fit, at least for the stretch run, before he finds a new home perhaps in the summer.
Byron back there to pick it up, but play whistle down.
One more thought on Jeff Petrie. Interesting case study for him, though, because if you look at the plus-minus, he is 4th worst in the NHL. He's minus 24. Not very good. But if you look at the analytics and some of the advanced stats, he has had a nice run of several years of being one of the better defenders on the Edmonton Oilers in that regard. So depending on what organizations put a stock into, might tell you what kind of offers they might make for him, either in a trade or to sign him.
Discuss amongst yourselves, but I mean, with the advent of advanced stats, does plus-minus really mean much anymore at all?
It does to the players. Now, it may not to managers, it may not to teams, but the players, it's still one that they turn to. And when you're minus 25, it's not good. And when you're plus 25, you feel better about yourself. You don't necessarily feel better about yourself just yet because you have a good Corsi number.
Gazdic gets it up into the corner. Frazier works it around. Gazdic going towards the front of the net. Shot doesn't come through. He's parked right down in front of Hiller. Puck bomb back in, up around the boards. Matt Frazier up there after it. Taps it back around. Staging. Got it outside the blue line. Knocked out and sent right back in by Frazier. Here's Gaudreau. Engelland plays it back. Gaudreau dangling up there in the neutral zone. Now he's after it here in the left wing. Couldn't get there. Colburn up with him. Puck comes back out and played up and into the Oilers bench. So play is whistled down. 13:30 to go in the second period. Oilers with 2 goals in the first, and that's working for them.
Johnny Gaudreau, a few chances in this hockey game, and last night he spent time at the Acadia Recreation Center in Calgary, surprising the Blackfoot Chiefs Adam 5 team at their practice. After practice, he provided every player with a new Bauer hockey stick, nice to eliminate some of the cost for the parents. But during practice, he showed some of his skills while participating in a shootout drill, much to the happiness of all the people, the parents, the coaches, and the other kids on the team. And good job by Johnny Gaudreau. Good call.
Wolf trying to come up. He was knocked down as he hit the slot.
Good to see Gaudreau take it easy on the 10-year-old goalie.
Learn the lessons early, kid.
That's
that was
right.
his message.
That's right.
A lot of heartbreak in this game. Here's a little for you. Pass comes up ahead. Raymond was in the slot. Now he comes over trying to claim it. Given away. Weidman walked in. And a nice play there. Andrew Ference sliding across to try to gum up the works. Eberle moves in. Stops. Starts. Shoots. And that's stopped by Hiller.
What a sequence by the Oilers as they defend at one end and almost get one at the other. But first is the captain, Andrew Ference. Breakdown in the defense zone coverage leaves Dennis Weidman walking right down the slot, and he takes that one up in the chest area. Doesn't feel very good. Look at this little stop and go to slow from Jordan Eberle dancing Mark Giordano as he sells the shot, gets Giordano to bite, and then zips around him. And Eberle is having one of his stronger games as he continues to chat with Giordano right now about that last play on the faceoff dot.
And again, that big threesome out. Nugent Hopkins, Eberle, and Pouliot for Edmonton. They've accounted for both of their goals. Backlund up there at the blue line was stopped up. TJ Brodie clears it in. Puck is chipped up. Pouliot waved it by. Boma plays it back. Backlund up there at the blue line, left it. Boma on the move and tried to slide towards the middle and lost possession.
Jones is going to get one here. We got Pouliot on the board.
And that is exactly going to be the case. So the Oilers will get a chance on the power play.
Going to be a cross check. David Jones is on the back check. And he gets Benoit Pouliot all the way down below the goal line here. And no sudden movement. Oh, he gets it right up underneath the ribs. Easy call for the referees to make. And the Oilers back to the power play.
Oilers power play coming into the game 28th in the league. 0 for 6 in the last couple of games on the power play. 3 for 17 on the power play in their last 4 road games.
And you think of some of their talent. You wonder how they could be 28th. They have Justin Schultz, who's a good offensive defenseman, and they got some high-powered offensive forwards. And to be almost near the bottom is surprising.
Derek Roy moves in. Trying to play it across there was Fraser, knocked down, short-handed. Station fires it towards the goal. Here comes Lander, tucks it up ahead. Roy wheels and deals, rolls away from him. Yakupov waiting, he's got some room here, fires one. Zipped their dart just wide. Lander looking for it. Station. There's it up there for Brody. He's on the move. Brody coming in and tried to move it across, and a nice play by Petrie to knock it away. Brody gets it down low into the corner. Juris. Nice play there by Jeff Petrie, short-handed.
Couple nice defensive plays. You don't want to be called on that when you're on the power play, but he had to there.
Nugent Hopkins moved it up.
A lot of guys out there.
Off.
A lot of guys out there for the Oilers.
Everly, Pouliot. Big guns out there for Edmonton on this power play. Puck rolled towards the front. Nobody home. It'll come out. Darting over there to knock it down with Schultz. Over to Nugent Hopkins. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Pouliot works it across. Nugent Hopkins. Back to the top of the point. And knocked down, and on the way was Boma. He's over on the left side. And just lofted towards the goal. Sneaky shot from Byram.
And I guess that's why they're 28th in the league, Paul. That was not a very good looking power play for the Oilers.
This is Gordon. Tried to thread it through there. It was knocked down, chopped out by Wolf. He'll steer it ahead. Station couldn't knock it down, and that's an icing call on Calgary.
1 week left to nominate your community to be the next Kraft Hockeyville. Visit khv2015.ca by February 8th. Brought to you by Kraft Dinner.
If you're going to play forwards on the ice, you got to have good decisions. That by Nail Yakupov is a terrible decision. Stay on your feet, play the 2-on-2, and don't give up a clean 2-on-1. It's decisions like that that will get you off the power play in a hurry.
Station moves it in, worked it across, puck fired off the iron. That was Wolf coming in on the left side. He's been all around the net tonight and hit the outside of the iron there. David Wolf in his first NHL game, looking for his first NHL goal, and he almost found it there. Welcome back to the Scotiabank Saddledome. David Wolf, a fourth-year pro, making his NHL debut, and came really close here.
And he looks right at home in the NHL. He's been really good and shows that quick release right off the bar over Scriven's shoulder. And Jelena there talking not about his missed opportunity, but where he needs to be to continue to get those opportunities. He'll tap in the back, and that positive reinforcement is so important. It doesn't matter if you're a fourth-year pro, if you're 25. If it's your first game, you're nervous. You want to know what you're doing well. You want to know the coaches are believing in what you're trying to accomplish out there.
And David Wolf's parents, no doubt watching online in Germany, so a special hello to them. They must be very proud of their son.
Dad's a coach of a Division III German professional team. And lots of time over in North America. Played for the German Olympic team in the '88 Olympics. And
in this building.
In this building. And his dad was quoted as saying he almost drew tears just when his son was out there for a warm-up before he even played in an official game. So I can only imagine how special it will be in the middle of the night for them watching them play. And not only play, but play well.
Perhaps a stein or two of lager being consumed.
As
celebration.
we've both been to Germany, and I would expect that to be the case.
Scrivens. Punt bomb, plays it back. Raymond knocked it down, guided it towards the slot there. It was scrambly.
The Oiler bench just erupted because it was Johnny Gaudreau had Matt Fraser in a tough spot. Someone let him know he had a guy coming at him.
This is Juris, moves in with a shot. Nice stop, rebound in front. Play whistle down. Juris got the good first shot. And then lots of traffic around the crease and the referee whistling the play dead.
I think it was just incidental contact. I think the referee knew that the puck was loose. Juris puts his puck in on net and sitting right on top of him. Ben Scrivens, but it was Johnny Gaudreau who fell right into the chest of Ben Scrivens. Absolutely the correct call. You cannot work into the goalie in that regard. Give him a chance to stand his ground, make a save as he tries to fight for the rebound still. Let's see. Well, Johnny Gaudreau gets to the front of the net though.
Here's Klinkhammer, moves it up ahead quickly. Hendricks strides in. Klinkhammer was going for the net. Ollie moves it up. And fighting his way out is Brody. Up to the blue line. Dishes off there in the wing. Goes to the net. He was looking for the return pass, but it didn't come. Coburn wasn't able to get it to him. Now Coburn down in front. He'll jam at it. He just moved into position, knowing the puck would come, and he got a couple of whacks at it there, but Scrivens holding the fort.
It's a good forecheck by the Calgary Flames. Creating a turnover, getting puck to the front of the nets. It's Keith Ollie who turns it over, and then Monahan gets it out to the front, and strong sticks by the Calgary Flames, but a stronger leg by Ben Scrivens to seal the bottom of the net. See him get that left pad down, support it with his hands as, again, Johnny Gaudreau ends up in his lap.
Scrivens steady as she goes. He's faced 21 shots. Diaz moved it up. It'll come back out. Bomo whacked at it, but didn't really get much on it. Puck will come out here. Here's Diaz. Jones taps it ahead. Roy being watched. Feature under some pressure up there from Jones. Yakupov cruising down that left side. Slowing down, just bounces it up. Petrie had jumped into the rush. Roy going after it here along the wall. Yakupov parks himself down low. Purcell fires one. Pillar steered that away. Roy is up back of the goal. The puck will come up here. He tries to knock it down, but Englund got in front of him. Puck did come outside the blue line there, hit the linesman actually, and play whistled down. This Wednesday, a son jumps through hoops to protect his father's legacy. A circus school. Tune into Dragon's Den Wednesday at 8 on CBC. Shots on goal 21-13 in this game for Calgary, but they're trailing 2-0. Oilers scoring both of their goals in the first period. TJ Brody. A little bit of room, but not enough apparently, and play whistle down, a penalty coming up.
Yeah, Benoit Pouliot got caught reaching. Another one of the things that can happen because of the good skating of the defenseman of the Calgary Flames. And TJ Brody turns to the Jets right here, and that's the can opener into the hands from Pouliot. Turnover into a 2-on-1, easy call. You gotta move your feet, not reach with the stick. The pressure that Brody puts on guys with his speed results in the power play.
The second power play of the game for Calgary. Hendricks banks it off the boards and down. Giordano back to pick it up. Giordano's going to be out there. Big part of the Calgary power play when it's working, which hasn't been often enough for the Flames this year. Their power play ranked 22nd in the league heading into the game. Weidman takes it top of the point. Works it up. Gaudreau. Gaudreau looking. Back for Weidman. Over to Gaudreau. Works it down low. Puck comes out. Jones was tied up. Little scrambly down there in front. Jones had another swipe at it. Giordano was right up there too. And the puck's clear. Long pass up for Giordano. He'll stride in. Backlund is with him. Into the corner. Gets it to Backlund. Weidman hanging back. He's got it now. Backlund. And lost possession of it there, and Nugent Hopkins gets it down the ice. Hiller. Long pass up. Coburn couldn't knock it down. About 40 to go on the power play. Weidman. Works it across. Coburn is going for the front of the net. Juris with it. Waits for the floor to set. Juris still. Diaz and Brody both back at the blue line. Coburn's got it here in the corner. Nobody down in front right now. Flames power play trying to coax this puck loose. A real ruck along the boards. Finally comes out. And all for naught as Ferentz bats it up around. Knocked down by Brody. Works it over. Brody again. Shooting. Knocked down in front. That hit Coburn. And the puck is clear.
A little too stationary on those power plays. They get on the half wall. Not a lot of movement. Easy to defend for the Oilers.
Puck steered up. Matt Stajan stepping up. This is Wolf working up there with Stajan, who's got it. Team's back at even strength. Russell. Giordano back for Russell. Had a bead on Stajan up there on that right side, but couldn't connect on the pass. Petrie after him. Everly. Nugent Hopkins. Oh, he almost poked it out. Knocked down Stajan. Was between the hash marks in front, but they couldn't get it to him. He comes over to the corner to pick it up. Wolf goes to the front of the goal. Russell had also jumped up. Rebound in front, and it rolls in. That was Mason Raymond who had the last touch, but it rolled in and was covered up there by Scrivens. 4:19 to go in the second period. And the Flames pressing a little bit, but really not much going offensively right now at all.
Ben Scrivens with 21 saves tonight, but he's also getting a little help from his defenders. This puck is about to bounce over his left shoulder into the net, and it's Justin Schultz from behind the net. Takes a swipe of that one to make sure it doesn't bank in off the elbow or shoulder of Scrivens right there. Scrivens doesn't know where it is, but Schultz does, and pretty good hand-eye right there. Get an idea of that puck drifting in, but from behind the net, Schultz bails out his goalie to keep the Flames off the board.
Weidman rifled one there. That zipped just wide of the goal. Weidman up after it, taps it around back of the net. Russell up there. Coburn is down low. Comes back to the line. Coburn was there in front, couldn't get a stick on it. Weidman comes up. Down there deep. Russell. Coburn parked in front. Weidman was right up there as well. Derek Roy clears it out. Back to Dennis Weidman. Coburn. Roy cleared it away from him. Purcell just guides it gingerly down and around back of that Calgary goal. Derek Roy moving up after it. Got it out in front. Gazdic shooting! That was knocked down. I believe it hit Weidman there at the side of the net. Klefbom swings it across. Puck fired up. Luke Gazdic with a great chance. And winding back in. Schultz. That one fired up around the boards. Klefbom taps it ahead. Weidman under some pressure. Gazdic looking for it. And puck cleared out. Gazdic. The recipient of a giveaway there, a turnover. And had a great chance earlier in this shift. Klefbom taps it back. Petrie ricochets it up off the boards. This is Lander striding in. Frazier going for the net. Shot comes in, picked off, and Hiller sells it. Picked it off with that glove and hung on.
And that puck was deflected on the way into Jonas Hiller, who hasn't had very much to do in this period. Anton Lander right there into the stick of Russell, down in the ice and up. So he had to get that windmill right there to take it away to keep it a 2-goal deficit. And prior to that, here's Luke Gazdic, jumps on the loose puck. Dennis Weidman coming up from behind the net. He goes down in a heap. He takes it up near the chest as Gazdic fires it high and wide. And Weidman goes down. First couple opportunities that Edmonton's had in about 10 minutes.
Pouliot after it. Owen rockets down off the boards. Everly back to the line. Ference fires one. Rifle that one just wide. Here's Pouliot looking around. Nugent Hopkins is down low. Comes back to Ference. Nugent Hopkins. Back to Everly. Try to work it around back of the net. Giordano stepped in front of it. Petrie coming up there on that right side, trying to keep the drive alive. Giordano fires it up around the boards and out. Everly. Nugent Hopkins a little too far ahead of him. Wolf couldn't get there. Ference does. And it comes outside the blue line, and that's an offside call with 1:37 to go in the second period. Here's Cassie.
Paul, it's our Budweiser Red Light scoreboard, and for a second game in a row, Max Pacioretty gets the game-winning goal. Carey Price gets the shutout. 1-0 Montreal over Washington. San Jose 1-0 over Chicago in the second. How about LA come into tonight 1 point back of Calgary, but they lose in Boston 3-1, and some matinees there too. 4-1 Detroit. Arizona loses 7-2 to Ottawa. Paul.
All right, thanks, Cassie. Cassie Campbell-Pascal with us, as well as Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson right down between the benches. Great look at this game. Bit of a foot race, and getting there first is Englund. Raymond tucks it up ahead. Monahan wheels it down, chops it to the blue line, comes back to Monahan. He's there with Gaudreau. Russell. Gaudreau dropped it back. Raymond shoots. That was blocked. And picked up by Roy. Under a minute to go in the second period. Both goals in this game, both by Edmonton, scored in the first period. Buckbomb there to knock it down, and play is called.
And again, it's a stretch pass attempt from the Calgary Flames. We have seen so many of the Flames forwards trying to sneak in behind the Oiler defenseman, whether it's for a bump back pass, whether it's just to pull the defenseman back, but clearly a strategy that they are looking to today. And this one is Lance Bolma trying to get in behind Klefbom. Not breaks it up, but has not changed. Started in the first and has continued on here through the second.
Remember, the Flames were shut out in their last game
for the first time this year by former Oiler Devin Dubnyk, the Minnesota Wild.
Yakupov missed it, but he's going to scream after that puck. Gets it back for Roy. Back up. Yakupov tried to get it on the backhand. Couldn't. That was Schultz, who was flattened up there along the boards. Ran into Giordano. Or vice versa. This is Brody. Jones. Big shot. Comes up around the boards. Giordano knocks it down. He'll fire it across over into the corner. And time will run out. 142 minutes, 33 seconds. The Flames have gone without scoring. Coming up in the second intermission, Elliot Friedman sits down and chats with one of the all-time greats, Martin Brodeur. That is coming up. Flames still looking for their first goal. They came close here. Wolf off the bar.
Welcome back to Calgary and Hockey Night in Canada. The Flames find themselves down by 2 to the Edmonton Oilers as we start this third period. I'm standing with the head coach, Bob Hartley. You've been down 2-0 to this team before. Did you use that as part of your motivation here for the third?
Yeah, like for sure. We had so many comebacks, and right now in the second period, we got a few good chances. Need more pucks at the net, and let's look for rebounds.
Thanks for this, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to Mike Johnson and Paul Romanuk.
All right, thank you, Cassie. And just to put a bit of meat on the bones, if you will, the Flames 8-15-1 when trailing after 2 periods. Those 8 wins representing the highest total that any team in the league has in that situation. Anaheim is second for context. They have 7. But this team plays very well when they're behind the proverbial 8 ball heading into the 3rd period. What do you think, Mike? Luck?
It is luck, but it's also belief, and they kind of go hand in hand. Once you do it a few times, you have the sense that, you know what, we can come back from any deficit. We're not out of any game, and it perpetuates itself and happens more often. But the law of averages will always catch up to whatever stat you're talking about. You're not going to win a 30-year games trailing into the 3rd period like the Flames have this year.
Here comes Juris. Well, they'd like to just win this one and make it 9, and Juris fires the first volley here in this 3rd period.
You heard Kelly Hrudey talk about it. They're getting pucks to the net. And Ben Scrivens has had a very nice night, 22 shots, 22 saves, but he has had a couple moments where he's dropped pucks around his crease, where he's bobbled some pucks, and the Flames have had their chances with some scrambles, and that's what they got to keep trying to do. When you're not scoring, and the Flames are certainly not, almost 2 games, full games now without goals, simplify, look for rebounds, look to get a greasy one.
No, Ben Scrivens has looked good. And you referenced it earlier, a real, very important year in his career. Stepping up to the corner. Wolf. Rubbed up along the boards. Ollie watching him. Good roll up there as well. Couldn't pick it up. Russell chipped it up, and Goodrow was right in front, but play whistle down. The puck did come outside.
Just outside, as Johnny Goodrow was hoping that puck was going to be kept in. He could sneak in behind the Oiler defenseman for a chance, and Chris Russell trying to keep this one in with a skate, and right there, just out. Linesman right on it, like they almost always are. Negating what would have been a chance, but some of the times you can cheat as an offensive player. Maybe you don't take those first couple of hard strides back in the defensive side, looking for a puck to slip past the defenders for a chance. You see David Wolf limping off. That would be a tough break. He's had a strong game.
Oh, and I can see him limping down towards the dressing room. You're right. We'll keep an eye on that. Puck bounces down. Pouliot lost it. This is Colburn. Works it back to the line. Puck moved up. Stepping up, Giordano with a shot from a good angle and deflected up out of play.
I just saw David Wolf limping off the bench down the tunnel. And there he is behind the net. Awkwardly just kind of crashes into the boards. Whether it's a groin, a knee, who knows, but getting to the bench, and he was in some discomfort on his way off. So in his first game, hopefully will not be cut short for him.
Did you get a good look at him going past your position?
No, I just saw him heading down with some assistance. Needed some help, though, just to walk down behind the bench. So he was in some pain.
Mike is right down between the benches. This is Petru with it. Hendricks bounces it off the boards up into the corner. Klinkhammer gets there. Rubbed out there by Giordano. Klinkhammer wasn't able to keep it in. And the puck going into the Oilers bench and out, and play whistle down.
Well, Calgary Flames are having a very successful year, even though they don't have the strongest possession stats. And how do you have that? You have a good shooting percentage and a good save percentage. And look where they are, second in the league behind only the Tampa Bay Lightning. 10.3% of their shots head into the net. So they get 30 shots, they'll get 3 goals. And you get 3 goals, you win most games in the NHL.
Roy and Stajan both get chased. Ferentz tips it up. Yakupov, no room to move. Puck got by Raymond. Englund back to pick it up, and play whistle down.
Oilers are up 2-0, trying to continue their strong run of late. And look what they've done under Todd Nelson versus Dallas Eakins. Obviously, the record much better. Goals per game up. Goals against maybe not quite what he wanted to be, but attitude and environment vastly improved as well.
Oh, Giordano ripped one towards the goal there as it came back. He'll fire another one in, picked off and held by Scrivens.
That was a big save on Mark Giordano there, and this is what Calgary has to do. If you're going to play in the offensive zone, if you're going to get faceoffs down there, you got to win some and then take advantage. You know, Yakupov doesn't quite take the right angle. Giordano hammers that one. Nobody in front, but still a difficult save for Ben Scrivens. He's one of the few guys getting to beat the goalie without a screen from the blue line.
Next game for Giordano will be career number 500. He's out there right now. Puck just cleared in by Pouliot. Everly up after it.
Joe Colbert hobbled off as his skate protector has come loose.
Nugent Hopkins got it out there for Pouliot, and he tried to cradle it to get the shot away and lost possession. Nugent Hopkins tips it up, gets it back. Everly up on the right side, it comes to him, but he's got to play it back. No room to maneuver there. Nugent Hopkins just tips it in. This is Brody. Edmonton on a change. Brody comes out, didn't like what he saw. Got it up ahead there at the line. Juris coming in, looks around, looking for some help. Raymond comes up there. Raymond looking around. Down in front, he had Byron there, scores! Mason Raymond. And is that the start of the comeback?
It's a start. It's Mason Raymond, who has been ice cold as of late. And everybody's loving Raymond right now as he gets the Flames on the board. Watch Dennis Weidman activate, though, from the blue line. And he draws some coverage. He sets a little pick coming down to the post there, and it's Klefbom, and it's Gazdic, and no one quite rotates out with Mason Raymond, the good skater that he is. Wheels and fires, traffic in front, and it drifts through Ben Scrivens to close the gap to one. And the comeback kids started again.
Flames goal is 7th year. Score number 21, Mason!
Pass comes up ahead. Jones looking for it. Patriot gets their first and icing call on the Flames. That was, I believe, right down in front was Paul Byron, who may have provided a bit of a screen.
And this is what the Flames needed, though. Get in the offense zone, get some bodies in front. You're absolutely right. Schultz is there, Byron is there. And the Flames know they need this. A big game for them. Several teams right on their heels in the playoff chase. It's hard not to look at the standings when you're hanging in 8th place.
Raymond gets the goal. Juris with the only assist. Oh, Schultz had a notion, but then pulled back the reins and didn't come in after that puck. Cleared down, another icing call on Calgary.
For the Edmonton Oilers, though, it's another opportunity for a learning lesson. Under a new coach, you've had the lead. Trying to protect the 2-0 lead, now 2-1. How does this team play? How do they react? How does the bench react as they try to get this game over the finish line? Still 16 and a half minutes left. It's all part of the process of figuring out how to win as a group. Oilers are going through it.
Nugent Hopkins works it up for Eberle. Pouliot was hanging around the high slot there, but nothing gelling for the Oilers on that occasion. Backlund steps in. Had Boma out in the slot, couldn't get it out there. And an icing call on Edmonton. On Wednesday, don't miss the Book of Negroes. The 6-part epic continues. Among the stars, Louis Gossett Jr., Cuba Gooding Jr. Wednesday at 9 on CBC. Sean Monahan up in the face-off, works it back to the line. This is Brody, works it towards the front. Was batted away there by Fane, and then another shot coming in there, and Scrivens hanging on. Flames definitely with some spark.
They get the offensive zone face-off because right there, Benoit Pouliot doesn't take the extra 4 feet to get to the red line. Offensive zone face-off, top of the zone, and then Sean Monahan rips one up top that Ben Scrivens has to be sharp with. Little details, what necessary to close out the game successfully for Edmonton.
This is TJ Brody, plays it up ahead. Monahan out through center. Goodrow coming down that left side, beetling up after the puck. Coburn steps up. Puck rolls down. Goodrow couldn't control it there, and it's cleared out. Race for the puck. Klinkhammer's got it. Big chance. Big stop. Right there by Hiller. Right then. Klinkhammer coming in with a glorious chance. Back the other way. Goodrow going towards the net. Comes back. Fired in wide by Diaz. Up off the boards. Flames have got some jump now. Chances at both ends. Puck will come over. Byron looking around. Plays it all the way back to the line. Diaz rips one. That'll come down. Diaz getting all set again. Had to take it off his skate though. Raymond looking. Trying to keep the drive alive. What an effort. He does. Feathers it up ahead. Juris jumping up there after it. Puck knocked down. Lander will clear it out. Diaz rings it right back in. Juris charging up there after it. Juris, Raymond, they're all up there. So's Jones trying to chase that puck down. Keep the momentum rolling. That's what the Flames are trying to do. Raymond rifles one. Thuds off the board. Weidman up after it. He shoots, and he tested Scrivens there. Purcell plays it up, and offside was Yakupov coming in the left-hand side.
Chances at both ends. First it's Rob Klinkhammer off to the races. And he's got the partial break from an angle, looks to shoot, and Billy Tiller reads the body, slides across, takes away from the shoulder, and watch this save. Juris fans on it, so Scrivens has to respect that. Then it's deflected on the way in off Lander from Diaz. And Ben Scrivens makes a pretty good save. And you get a real sense, so crowd's now back in this game with Calgary scoring and making their push right here.
Oh, the one-hopper comes in. Rebound was right there for Boma. Oh, my. An awkward bounce. And Lance Boma was right there. Roy tries to play it up. Knocked down by Backlund. He'll move up. Works it across in front. Scores! Boma has tied it up.
Boma's thinking he's due. First he had this one that just bounces over his stick as Scrivens tried to catch a short hopper. But then just later than that, talk about details. Derek Roy turnover. He gets beat wide. Petrie and him go to Backlund, gets over to Boma, and then he zips it 5-hole. Good job corralling and opening up the body and then getting it through the legs of Ben Scrivens. And just like that, the Calgary Flames have done it again. The top scoring team in the third period have gotten 2 in the first 6 minutes to tie the game.
Boma's first goal in 11 games, and it ties this one. Jones and Backlund with the assists. Now we've got a game. Goodrow drops it back. Giordano, oh, and he looks down at the ice after that chance. He knows he had a great opportunity, trying to follow up the goal from Boma to tie this one up.
Welcome back to Calgary. The teams are tied at 2. We're still waiting to hear a report on David Wolf. At this time, he is still being evaluated. Let's go to Mike Johnson.
Thank you, Cassie. Take another look at this goal. Good wide drive by Michael Backlund. Gets it over again. It's a 3-on-3, a little miscommunication for the Oilers, but a good finish. And talks about you can feel the tide turning, momentum going in Calgary's favor, and they've capitalized a couple times because of it.
Puck's going to roll into Hiller, and he hangs on. On Wednesday, don't miss The Book of Negroes. The 6-part epic will continue on CBC, starring Louis Gossett Jr., Cuba Gooding Jr. Wednesday at 9 on CBC.
Todd Nelson trying to hold his guys accountable. Derek Roy not on the ice. You know, Yakupov not on the ice. So now it's going to be Lander and Fraser bumping up with Purcell.
And here's Lander, spins and shoots. Purcell. find a little bit of room there, and it was in short supply. And dashing away as Byron comes in, waits for the trailer, finds him, that's Juris, and he pushed it wide. Byron, Juris is down low, in back of the net, but he can't get it up there deep to him. Oilers will come back, Purcell with it, steps in over the line, Lander up there with him, and that's broken up. Oh, Juris couldn't quite get to that puck. Fraser plays it back. Both teams making changes, all tied up at 2. Oilers scored both of their goals in the first period. Flames with a couple here in the third. The NHL's best come-from-behind team in the third period. Trying to pull it off yet again. They have 8 wins this year when trailing after 2 periods. That's the best total in the league. Brody, long pass up ahead. He was trying to connect with Sean Monahan. Didn't, and that's an icing call.
Bob Hartley talked about that they had done this so many times already this year, coming back, believing in each other, and some unlikely guys. Mason Raymond, he's been cold as of late. He gets the Flames on the board. Lance Boma hasn't scored in 10-plus games. He gets them tied up, and it's been that way for the Flames all year long. Different guys stepping up, getting it done.
Puck kind of wobbles around there. Yakupov's going to jump up and claim it. Ollie moves it up. Ollie skating after it. He's going to get some help from Mark Fane. Yakupov. Russell had to move it quickly. Puck tapped up ahead. Bomo is looking for it. Backlund moving in, shooting! Picked off, and a penalty coming up. A hooking call.
Derek Roy. He's going to get the hook, get caught chasing, and puts the stick in a Lance Boma. Again, it's Michael Backlund. Flames trying to attack with speed. Boma slashes through, creates a turnover, and then wrists her in on Ben Scrivens. Here you see it right there. Can't open her into the hands on Boma by Derek Roy. And the Flames go back to the power play.
0 for 2 on the power play. And all the big guns out there. Opportunity knocking. Giordano looks around. Weidman is back at the blue line. Goodrow in front, scores! Sean Monahan in front of the net. And the Flames doing it again.
Starts with a 1 draw. Nicely done by Sean Monahan against one of the best in Boyd Gordon. And as they work it around, puck will eventually get its way down to the goal line to Sean Monahan. He's trying to find Gaudreau on the back door, but it's a kick save by Keith Ollie that I think puts it in right there past Ben Scrivens. That's just a tough break for the Edmonton Oilers, but you skate, you draw power plays, you get pucks to the net, and good things will happen. And it'll be Sean Monahan with the go-ahead goal here for the Flames.
Monahan's 3rd power play goal, 9th power play point of the season. And the Flames are up 3-2. They trailed 2-0 after 1. Trailed 2-0 after 2 periods. And here comes Boma moving up. Knocked away, Eberle with it. There's still lots of hockey to play. We'll see how the Oilers respond. It's been a tough season for them. Pouliot plays it back, and that might be the understatement of the night, actually. Monahan, Giordano, and Weidman with the assists. Giordano. Here comes Raymond, sweeping in, worked it across. Oh, Juris ripped that one just wide of the target. Purcell going after it. He'll step in over the blue line. Nugent Hopkins is with it. Puck played towards the goal. Nugent Hopkins was right there. And the puck played up over the glass. Makes some discussion as to...
It actually hit the top of the glass on the way over. As the referees are getting together right now to discuss it. Ryan Nugent Hopkins trying to go to the net. It's tangled up and crashes into the boards right there. And the puck is flipped up over the glass, but it actually, I can see it perfectly from where I was standing, hit the top of the glass on the way over. So no penalty on the Calgary Flames. Faceoff should be in the offensive zone for the Oilers, as the Flames were about 2 inches away from being short.
Just want to point out the referees get it right. Always quick to point out when they don't. But it's fair play. Quick discussion and they make the right call. Petrie, oh, he wired one. And I think it hit Hiller more than anything else. Not sure he saw it before he felt it. Petrie. Here's Ference. Just past the halfway point of this third period. Goudreau. Colbert works it over. Goudreau going across towards the front of the net and just failed to click on that feed. Monahan had moved it across to him. Purcell trying to find his way through. Monahan taps it out. And Ollie will fire it right back in. Hiller. Fane taps it up. That's Gordon who'd lost his stick. He's up to retrieve it. Backlund churning his way to the line and offside. Boma was there at the blue line and was just in, leading things just a touch. Flames with 3 in the third period. They've got the lead.
And there you see the go-ahead goal score for the Calgary Flames. Sean Monahan, power play goal. Fortunate bounce off Keith Ollie's skate. But we shouldn't be surprised that he's scoring when it counts, because look at his shooting percentage. Has yet to score in the first period. As the game gets deeper, he gets better. And then look out if he ever gets to overtime. 3 overtime goals already. When the game's on the line, Sean Monahan has been coming through for Calgary.
Actually, not to put too fine a point on it, but Keith Ollie was actually the goal scorer. Unfortunately.
This isn't European football. There's no own goals here. Sean Monahan's the goal scorer, and he'll take it gladly.
Went off of Ollie's skate and in. Nugent Hopkins fires that one in. That stop. And you bet Monahan will take that. And he's out there lurking again in the neutral zone. But this is Nugent Hopkins to Eberle. Shoots off the iron. Eberle up after it. Works it around. Eberle. Pouliot couldn't get to it. Brody does, and he lugs it out to center and steers it in. Schultz. Roy back to Schultz. Cross ice. Purcell couldn't get to it. Raymond. Nice little move and fed it ahead to Byron. Streaking down, looking, gets it to Juris. Juris up there, wrestled out in the corner, but he's got it now. Tried to walk towards the slot and knocked aside. Weidman pokes it up. This is Schultz again. Resetting things. Purcell. Nowhere to go for Fraser. Purcell's got it now. Roy is with them. He'll get it to him. Roy into the corner. Fraser going to the front of the net. Puck back at the line. Fired up there. Fraser dancing around, frisking around the edge of the crease, trying to get to that puck, but he couldn't. This is Lander. He plays it over. Puck played back in. Storming up there is Eberle. Up around back of the net. Lander looking for it. Back for Petrie. Shoots. Steered away there by Hiller. This is Lander with it in the corner. Gets it back to the blue line. Play is whistled down. A slashing penalty coming up. And it's going to go against the Oilers.
Tough run for the Oilers. They almost tied it up here as Jordan Eberle rings one off the bar. Beats Jonas Hiller there on a wrister from distance. Great look at it here. Short side. Hiller just gets a piece of it. And then the post. And a couple minutes later, watch Matt Fraser skate right through there, slashing on Diaz's hands. Knocks a stick out of his hand, and the Flames back to the power play. Chance to extend this lead to 2.
Scored in their last power play. And Monahan, the goal scorer, is out there now. Weidman fires one that was blocked on the way through. Puck cleared down the ice. Here comes Weidman. And broken up at the line. Hendricks tried to get to it. On the way they come. Goudreau was up there, but the pass didn't come across to him. Monahan elected to go for the shot option. And back at the line, it comes out over to Weidman. Backlund wheels up. Raymond creeping up there on the left side, but the puck doesn't come around to him. In the right wing corner, and it's played up to Nugent Hopkins. Little move at the line, and the puck played out. Purcell up there, tried to storm through. Giordano with it. He'll play it back. Raymond. Steps in, Backlund comes up there, couldn't get there in time. Up around the boards, and the puck played out. About 40 seconds to go in the power play for Calgary. They lead 3-2 here in the third period. Trailed 2-0 after 2. On the way through, Boma got the comeback started here in this third period for the Flames, and he's out there now. Brody. Monahan stepping up, drops it down low. Coburn was right there waiting for the pass between the hash marks. And it came out from Boma, but he wasn't able to handle it. Final few ticks of the clock on this power play for Calgary. Fraser steps out of the box and back into the play. Teams at even strength, and the pass up there to Fraser. And rubbed out there by Weidman as he lost his balance. Backlund takes the pass here and steps up to center. Backlund looks around, plays it in. He'll head up after it. Byron was hanging back. It didn't come to him. This is Eberle on the way. Steps in. Nugent Hopkins takes it. Ready, set with a shot. Petrie. Eberle works it out. Pouliot fired one that was knocked down. Oh, trying to break out there was Coburn, but he was held up a little bit. Brody moves it up around the boards. Monahan had it roll past. Eberle wheeling and dealing, works it up there. And play finally broken up. Mark Fane back after it, no icing. Goudreau up to watch him. Puck played up, Raymond shooting! Rising shot right into the glove there. Scrivens who pulled it down. Fane. Looking for Yakupov. Goudreau looked up quickly and saw Fane. And was able to avoid the worst of the collision. Here comes Backlund, moving in, works it in front, scores! Second of the game for Boma. And that's a knife into the Oilers.
Good defense in the transition. It's Chris Russell who steps up on Derek Roy, turns him over, and it's a quick 2-on-1, and what a pass by Michael Backlund. Beautiful sauce over top of the outstretched Justin Schultz. Look at that right there. Boma settles it and then gets it underneath the glove of Ben Scrivens over the pad. Corrals it, releases it quickly, and all of a sudden, 4-2 for the Flames, 4 unanswered in the third period. And unusual that a coach, after 4 goals, all the momentum on their side, would use his timeout, but Bob Hartley wants to get his team down, get them back under control, and realize they still have 3.5 minutes here to finish off this game. There's a guy knowing his team, and Bob Hartley. That's Boma with 2 in the third. In a very important period, and a very important game for the Calgary Flames, now with a 2-goal lead.
Well, Mike is right down between the benches, and Mike, I know what you can see over on the Calgary side with the timeout. What about the Oilers? How are they looking? Do they look like the deflated team?
Of course they do. They thought they were in good shape, up 2-0, and all of a sudden 4 unanswered. some tough breaks, some by their own mistakes, and it's got that feeling of deja vu all over again for the Edmonton Oilers, is making mistakes, coming back and costing them in important times of the game.
Flames goal, his second of the night, scored by number 17.
So Boma with a pair tonight. Gordon fires one in, that is grabbed and covered up by Hiller. And he will hang on to it. Michael Backlund picked up an assist on that goal. He has 10 points in 10 games since coming back off of abdominal surgery. It's going well for the Flames, isn't it? 4-2. Flames turning it around in the third period. They're up 4-2, and some costly errors from some veterans.
Derek Roy brought in to provide some offense, but also be aware of the puck. Turnover outside the offensive blue line, quick 3-on-2, and boom. Lance Boma gets his first of the night. Later in the game, turnover right there, doesn't get it in deep. Andrew Ference jumps up. Backlund over to Boma, and all of a sudden it's 4-2 in the game. Might be out of reach. And they're just places on the ice where you have to be better if you want to win. And a couple spots where Derek Roy just didn't get the job done.
Schultz under some pressure. Petrie gets up rather groggily. Shot comes in. Scrivens knocked that away. It was Michael Backlund who pulled the trigger right in front.
That hit the crossbar.
Off the bar, and that was David Jones who had the chance, following one up from Backlund just before it. Eberle comes in. Pouliot. And Fane will skate back. Icing is called.
Flames almost put this game away, as David Jones rang one off the bar. All started with a strong forecheck for Boma. Gets it out to Backlund, and then here you see it off the bar and out. David Jones tries to get it up. And Nugent Hopkins right on top of the goal crease, diving down, and Jones puts it over him, over Scrivens, but not under the bar.
Empty net, and an extra attacker out there for Edmonton. Why not? 2.5 minutes to go. Purcell, Yakupov, Schultz hanging back at the line, will take it, didn't have a shot. Petrie plays it up and tapped right back out. Again, empty net to shoot at. Goudreau here along the boards comes in, but the play was offside. 2:06 to go. Here is Cassie.
Well, Paul, let's sneak in a Budweiser red light scoreboard. Still 1-0 San Jose in the third period of Chicago. Toronto still can't score as they lose 1-0 to Philadelphia. Dallas beats Winnipeg 5-2. LA loses to Boston 3-1. The Montreal Canadiens' Carey Price ties Patrick Waugh for 5th all-time with his 29th shutout as they beat Washington this afternoon 1-0. Paul?
Speaking of goalies, Ben Scrivens is back in for the Oilers. Nugent Hopkins. Knocked down there with the forechecking of Backlund. Here comes Eberle. In over the blue line. Scrivens will skedaddle over towards the bench. Nugent Hopkins works it across. Petrie walking in front of the net. Swiping at it there was Pouliot. And the puck comes around the boards and out. Very close there. Icing call on the Flames.
The Oilers have really had one good offensive line tonight. They've been very good. Nugent Hopkins, Pouliot, Eberle. All the chances they have been generated almost entirely by these three, and they almost get another one late. And now it's going to be the Oilers calling a timeout. 1:35 left. Todd Nelson's going to drop a play. And knowing that you need two, it's not just enough to get control, working around, and then eventually get to the net. You got to attack and attack quickly, because one's not going to get enough, not going to get it done. And another teaching opportunity, because this is a place where every coach has his own ideas and strategy, and Todd Nelson's got the whiteboard out there telling his guys where they want to go and where they need to be.
Well, Pouliot had the great chance just a few moments ago going to the front of the net.
Trying to find backdoor Petrie, and he chips it nicely. And off the head, Jonas Hiller touches that one wide, almost incidentally, to keep it out.
Wow, though, the Flames are poised to pick up their 9th win of the season in a game in which they trailed after 2 periods. The highest total in the league. 8 is already the highest total. And they can make it 9. Scrivens on the bench, extra attacker on the ice. And the puck comes out. Nugent Hopkins. Eberle. He's had a good night for the Oilers, and he finds Nugent Hopkins. Unfortunately, it hit his skate.
Bowman for the trick. He's laughing at himself.
He bowed his head a little bit there. There wasn't the greatest effort at the hat trick.
He slams it hard. The guy's the veteran laughing at him.
And offside called on the Oilers.
And you know they want him to get it. He's shaking his head right beside me. He's not. Oh, stick right inside the visor. Brad Lazarevic got to get that one taken care of. Just kick back to Anton Lander. They're going to try to get that puck in deep, and it slides up and under. And
whoa!
He's looking at him. How's that working?
Well, we can all have a bit of a chuckle. It turned out much better than it could have. Oh, that was a close shave. Nice stick.
It'll be a face-off then down to the far end. Let's see if Ben Scrivens. Oh, he'll stay out. It's on outside the Flame blue line. And right there, Derek Roy is that. Yeah, that's no way complaining about it. That's well above there. Shoulders?
That was a good call.
As most of them are.
Empty net. Eberle. Oh, gets a chance here. Oh, tried to move in on that left side and just lost it at the moment of truth. Giordano. Here's Pouliot. Looking for somebody in front. There was no one there. Back to Schultz. He'll swing it across. Eberle looks around. Puck back to the line. Wrist shot. Fired in there by Schultz. And the rebound controlled. Empty net. Monahan throws it across.
They're going to force it to Bowman if they could.
And down to the final 15 or so seconds. Lander. Pocket pick there. Boma for the hat trick and too sharp an angle. Coburn. And that will do it. The Calgary Flames, for the 9th time this year, overcome a 3rd period deficit and win the game. Wow.
Gutty win. They've done it all year long. They believe they can. They played very well. Edmonton was good in the first. The Flames were certainly the better team in the second and the third. And in a game that they had to have, a team they had to beat, the Flames continue to get it done. That big 4-goal 3rd period for the win.
3 stars. Lance Boma, star number 1, ends an 11-game drought in terms of goals. He picks up a pair. Michael Backlund, star number 2, and Jordan Eberle picks up star number 3 in the losing cause. Flames salute their fans. Job done. They trail 2-0 after 2 periods. They win this one 4-2. That's the story here in Calgary.